So you're all in on AI agents, but let's be honest. How do you get them from being these kind of cool but fragile experiments to a truly reliable workforce across your entire enterprise? Raw intelligence? That's not the answer. What you need is a way to bake your company's unique DNA, your specific processes, into every single agent every single time. And that is the power of what we're talking about today, AI agent skills. This is the playbook for turning the promise of AI into a real, scalable, competitive advantage.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to nail down the exact scaling problem that trips up most AI initiatives. Then, we'll get to the solution, thinking about your procedures as a kind of AI playbook. We're also going to peek under the hood at how an agent actually thinks and remembers things. We'll clear up the difference between skills and tools, and then, the most important part, we'll talk about the real-world, bottom-line impact this all has on your business.
So let's just dive right into that first big hurdle. As you start rolling out AI agents, you realize pretty quickly that the problem isn't making the AI smart. The real challenge is embedding your company's unique, hard-won procedures into the way that AI actually operates day to day. And this, right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Look, any LLM can write a decent marketing email. We know that. But can you honestly trust it to run your proprietary 47-step financial compliance check, the one the auditors are all over, and do it perfectly thousands of times a day? That's where the shiny promise of AI meets the cold, hard reality of business.
You see, a general-purpose AI knows nothing about your internal best practices. And the typical workaround? We just stuff these huge, incredibly detailed prompts into every single request, basically reteaching the agent the entire process from scratch every single time. As a strategy, that's just brittle, it's wildly inefficient, and there's no way you can scale it.
Okay, so if throwing these monster prompts at the problem isn't the answer, then what is? Well, it's all about encoding your expertise. It's about creating a digital playbook that your AI agents can actually learn from and use. Think about it. Instead of re-explaining the rules of the game every single play, a playbook gives your AI a set of reliable, pre-approved procedures. This is how you systematically teach your digital workforce how you do things, the unique how-to that defines your business, whether that's launching a marketing campaign or managing complex logistics. So let's put a more formal definition on this. Just think of a skill as a how-to guide in a box. It's this self-contained package of instructions that an AI agent can find and execute whenever it runs into a specific problem. What this really does is turn your company's most valuable procedural knowledge into a modular, reusable digital asset.
And what's actually inside one of these skills? It's surprisingly simple. It's basically just a folder. You've got the instructions, the step-by-step logic. You have some metadata, which is just a little description that tells the agent when to use it. And then you have any resources it might need, like email templates or scripts. That's it.
Now here's the really clever part. This is what makes the whole system so efficient. If an agent had to load everything it knows about every possible task all at once, it would be incredibly slow and clunky. So Skills solve this with a really smart approach called progressive disclosure.
It works exactly like you'd read a book. When the agent starts up, it just scans the table of contents. That's the metadata from all its skills. It's super lightweight. Then, when a request comes in that matches a chapter title, it opens that chapter and reads the full instructions. And only if a step says, see Appendix B, does it actually go and fetch that specific resource. This keeps the agent lean, fast, and totally focused.
So where do these skills actually live inside an agent? To really get this, it helps to look at how an agent's architecture is a lot like human memory. It gives us a really powerful way to think about how they think.
Just like us, an agent really has three kinds of long-term memory. It's got episodic memory for remembering specific things that happened. It's got semantic memory for general facts. And then there's procedural memory. And that's the one we really care about. That's the part that knows how to do things.
First up, you've got episodic memory. This is basically the agent's diary. It's the log of all its past conversations and interactions. It's what allows it to remember what you talked about yesterday so you can have a continuous conversation. This is the memory of what happened.
Next is semantic memory. This is the agent's library, its encyclopedia of facts. This is where it stores all its general knowledge, often powered by tech, that lets it pull information from all your company's documents. This is the agent's memory of what is.
And finally, we get to procedural memory. This isn't about facts or past events. This is pure how-to knowledge for getting tasks done. And this, right here, is exactly where agent skills live. They are the tangible, structured version of an agent's procedural memory.
Okay, this brings up a really common question I hear. How are these skills any different from the tools we're already giving our agents, like APIs? And the answer is that they operate on two totally different levels. It's the difference between capability and competence.
A tool extends an agent's capability. It gives it a new power, like being able to check a database. But a skill extends its competence. It gives the agent the judgment, the knowledge of how and when to use that power. The analogy is simple. A tool gives an agent a hammer. A skill is the blueprint that teaches it when and how to swing that hammer.
Okay, let's bring this all home. What does all of this actually mean for your business? At the end of the day, moving to a skills-based approach is about moving from these one-off, ad hoc AI interactions to a system that is structured, scalable, and auditable.
The big strategic shift is right here. You're moving away from giving AI these temporary, in-the-moment instructions, and you're starting to build a permanent library of capability modules. These skills literally become a durable intellectual property asset for your entire organization.
And the business transformation that this drives is, well, it's profound. First, you get reliability with repeatable, tested workflows. Second, you get scale, because now you can encode the wisdom of your top performers and give it to everyone. Third, you get governance. You're building a living, breathing, executable knowledge base of your company's best practices. And finally, you get democratization, empowering way more of your team to build AI solutions.
And this is such a critical point. Because skills are written in plain language, you are no longer 100% dependent on your engineering team. Your real subject matter experts, the people in marketing and finance and operations, they can now directly package their own best practice playbooks for your AI to use. They are literally building the AI's competence, and they don't have to write a single line of code. So the ultimate question for you is this: what happens when your company's most valuable asset, all that operational expertise that's currently locked away in documents and in people's heads, what happens when that becomes a living, executable library that your entire digital workforce can use instantly, on demand? The impact that has on your speed, your efficiency, and your competitive edge, it's immense. That is the real promise of agent skills.